In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 lessons I learned from Claire Underwood in House of Cards. I've been rewatching the series. The series intrigues me, not from, from the political perspective, that's fine, but I love the dynamic between Claire Underwood and Frank Underwood. And I wanted to share some lessons for both men and women about why Claire Underwood is so vital to Frank's success. And women should know this. If you want your man to be powerful, if you want him to embody a man, to be a man and to really go somewhere in life, she does it so perfectly. It's amazing how she motivates him and how she knows how to use her own sexual energy to motivate him. And men, you should know this because ultimately you want to educate your partner if you have a wife or a girlfriend about this, or you want to look for a woman who can do this. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Nakula Das and I help men master their sex energy so you could become powerful both in and outside the bedroom. Go to the description below. Register for Sex Mastery 101. It's my upcoming free webinar training, as well as you can get started right away on sexual alchemy techniques through the free ejaculation control guide. The links are in the description below. All right, let's get into Claire Underwood. Now, first of all, before I dive into these 5 lessons that I've picked out from her, you got to understand at a higher level how things are created. In this world, everything is created through sex. Sex means the coming together of male and feminine energy, right? So on the most physical, biological level, how is a baby created? Through the coming together or union of a man and a woman. If you want to have a powerful relationship, if you want to live a powerful life, you have to create this dynamic between male and feminine energy. Now, all of us contain masculine and feminine energy within ourselves. So the more that we can actually know how to use that energy within ourselves, we become self-empowered to create things on our own. But if you want to create something big, you need other people with you, and the dynamic of your relationship is going to be a huge factor to that. In fact, in the book Laws of Success or Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he speaks about that most men never achieve real success because they simply marry the wrong woman, or they never know how to create that dynamic within their relationship. And vice versa. Women also never experience everything that they are meant to be because they are not with the right man, or they're not with a man who knows how to get them to become everything that they want to be. So we have to understand this dynamic, and then we can understand how Claire Underwood shows this in the show. Now, let me put a little disclaimer. It's a television show, right? So, take it with a bit of a grain of salt too, because everything is amplified or taken to the extreme in shows, but the lessons are there. So, lesson number 1, she never coddles him or treats him like a child. Too many men are being like babies in their relationship, right? They're looking for their woman to coddle them or to almost be the mother to them. We subconsciously do this, right? We're looking for our wife or our partner to replace our mother. But you'll notice that Claire never acts like his mother. She's always his partner, and she makes that so clear. In fact, when he gets out of line on that partnership, she shuts that shit down, right? She holds him in line there. So she always maintains that she is a queen and he is a king. Now, she never lets him drop from his king status. Meaning, so there's a particular, right at the beginning, I think it's the 1st or 2nd episode, where, so Frank is passed up. He was promised the, what's the position? The Secretary of State. He was promised the position of Secretary of State. He gets passed up on that position, and they were expecting to celebrate, and, it was, to them, it was a done deal, because that was the promise. Now, he goes about 9 hours without letting her know, and she's texting him, she's calling him because she wants to know what's going on. So he finally comes home and you could tell he's beat, he's defeated. And that's the reality, right? Like we're all going to get beat. We're all going to get defeated, especially if we're out there trying to do something big. Defeat is going to happen. And so she's like, where have you been? What's going on? Da, 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 da. And finally he says, oh, well, I'm sorry. And then she says, no, I don't accept that. My husband doesn't say sorry, not even to me. Again, it's a movie or it's a show. So, you know, guys, I'm not telling you not to say sorry when you mess up, okay? You have to take it with a grain of salt. But the lesson is this. She never lets him. She goes, my husband doesn't say sorry, not even to me. What she's saying to him is, no, I'm not gonna play on this little baby aspect. I'm not your mother. I'm your queen. You want your mother? Go to mommy. You are my man, you are my protector, my provider. And so she helps him stay up in his motivation. And so after she says that, you could see he's like, he kind of like, oh, and she's like, I'm gonna find a solution. And she's like, good, I'm going to bed. Meaning you stay up and find a solution and you can come to bed when you found it. It's quite incredible the way that she is able to motivate him by keeping him up on his pedestal. So one, she doesn't coddle him. She doesn't allow him to go into his baby self. Women, you got to understand this because oftentimes, you may want to like coddle your man or try to comfort him and he may push you away or resist that. Like, no, don't like tell me like this. I want you to motivate me because what he wants is to feel like a man. And the more you actually coddle him, the more he feels like a child. Now, what's happened in many relationships is that men have allowed that to happen for so long that now women complain when their men are like children. He does nothing. He's not motivated. He's watching TV all the time. And you continuously coddle him and try to pacify him. And this actually pushes him more and more into his baby-like behavior. So this is the first lesson. Don't coddle your man, motivate him. Know how to stimulate his masculine energy. 2, she never lets him stoop out of his power position. So even when he is, again, she is extremely powerful, right? She's in a way more powerful than him. It's the only reason that he is so powerful because of how much she is steady in her energy. But she never lets him stoop from that power position. Anytime that he feels down, defeated, she's right there to lift him up. Again, but not in a way where she tries to comfort in him, but in a way where she's like, hold on. I know who you are. So there's a part in the show where he says, I'm going to prove it to everybody. And she says, no, prove it to me. Right? And then he's kind of like, I love this woman, right? Because she doesn't let him, she sees him nothing but as a king. So even when he doesn't perceive himself as a king in that moment, it's clear that he sees himself as a king. But because we're all going to have those weaknesses, she never loses that perception and she never allows him to stoop from his power position. And so she knows, she says, no, prove it to me, right? Show me what you got. And that's why he even says in the show, I love that woman. And he says that people can't understand the type of relationship we have. And it's true because it's not a type of regular relationship, but that's why they're two powerhouses in the show. And you know, there are relationships like that, and you'll see generally these are like power couples. They're glowing, they're vibrant, people love them, they're attracted to them, just like the Underwoods, and they're going in places. But they both have to hold this type of energy. The third lesson is there's this, it's a kind of like an awkward scenario where Frank's old bodyguard is dying of cancer. And so the bodyguard calls Claire to his room where he's lying down and, you know, he's clearly passing away. And like many of us, as we're passing away, he's like now regretting and saying, I wish I said the thing I want to say. I wish I did the thing. And he reveals that he's always had a thing for Claire, that he loved Claire. And he said to her, you know, I hate your husband. And she's just like, You could tell she's bothered. Like, she plays it so well. And Claire is very attractive. And I'll just tell you something that from a bodily perspective, Claire is not my cup of tea when it comes to physical attributes, but the way that she plays that character, you can't help but like feel attracted to her. So you could tell that she kind of at first wants to lash back, but she holds her ground and she goes, a lot of people hate my husband. And she stands beside him. A lot of people hate my husband, but whatever, right? And then he goes on to say, you know, for years I watched over your husband, but really I was watching you. And, you know, you're this and that and blah, 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 blah. And then Claire goes on to educate this man, right? And she goes, okay. She's like, well, thank you, you know, for sharing. And then, you know, she kind of gets on her knees and she starts stroking him a bit, which he gets all uncomfortable with, right? And she's like really like showing her dominance here. Like she's using her sexuality, right? She starts stroking him a bit. And then she says, is this what you wanted? And then he's like, stop that. She's uncomfortable with it. So she stops and she goes, let me tell you a story. She said, before Frank, there were many others, many suitors who wanted her. And she said, you know what was different about Frank? Was Frank said to me, look, if you want, you know, a life of happiness, if you want 2 kids and a picket fence and, you know, that's what you want, don't marry me. Say no. But if you want a life of excitement, if you want to go places, if you want to do things and experience things, then say yes. And then he put the ring on her finger. And that's how she explains it. Then he put the ring on my finger. And I knew right there and then, this is a man who takes what he wants. And he knew I would say yes. And the lesson she's giving to the guy, which is a lesson that all of us guys can understand. And again, it's a show. So, you know, take it like with a grain of salt, right? You know, right? Like understand, right? Like, but the point that she's making and the lesson we can take away is women don't want to see a guy who doesn't know what he wants and isn't ready to take what he wants in life. So many guys are actually in the feminine position in their relationship. They go to their wife or their partner all the time and say, well, what do you want? And of course you can ask, again, it's a show. But the point is, it's in your energy, is that you because you have no direction, no drive, you're not trying anything. Look how many times Frank Underwood fails. He fails his way to success. I mean, there's a ton of lessons you can learn from him. He literally is continuously, but that's what makes him so attractive. And he takes what he wants. He doesn't give up and he's going to go get it. And she knows that. And that's why she said yes. So the bodyguard who could have made a move on her, he never had a chance. And that's what she's saying. She even says, you told me your truth and now I told you mine. He didn't have a chance with her. Why? Because he's not a man who's going places. He's not a man who takes what he wants. Number 4. She knows she's his queen, and jealousy is not there. Meaning, she's so secure in her position as his queen that they mess around on each other, and they know. They don't really mess around on each other because they both know. And she's like, so, like, she gets it. Like, she's like, so when Zoe, the reporter comes over, right? And she's, you know, trying to seduce Frank, or she's wearing the low-cut shirt and stuff. And, you know, she's looking hot and everything. And obviously she does it. When Zoe leaves, notice that Claire isn't even budged by it. She even says, does that even work with anybody? And Frank jokingly says, well, not me. I mean, I don't know who it is. But they're kind of playing with each other. They are so secure in their relationship that jealousy does not infect their relationship in deep ways. When Claire goes off and has her fling with her you know, kind of like artistic boyfriend type thing that she's got on the side, Frank already knows where she's at. In fact, you know, Meacham, his bodyguard, says she's with this guy. Do you want me to go? And he says, no, that's fine. Because he knows she's coming back and she knows she's coming back. In fact, when she's ready to be done with the artistic guy for the week or whatever, and he's all like, stay with me, and he's trying to do this, she even says to him, I need a man I can love for more than a week. She's like, look, yes, you live this artistic lifestyle, you know, your free spirit, your, you know, kind of thing. And it is attractive. I'm attracted to it. But this is not me. I'm not going anywhere with this, right? She's so secure in her position as queen to him that even when they get into rough times, they outlast those rough times because they have a bigger game that they're playing. And this is what so many relationships are missing. They're missing a bigger game that they're playing together, right? You have to play a game together. And because they've set their eyes on the highest game, they don't allow just little pettiness and jealousy, which is wreaking so much havoc in relationships. Look how many relationships are filled with such pettiness, you know? Oh, why did you look at that hot girl? Why did you, you know, he's like, why are you dressing this way? Why are you, it's so petty because they're not together. They're not king and queen. But Claire never, her position as queen is never threatened, even when the little, you know, the little playmates come around. And the last thing is when there's a scene later on, where he's defeated, like he's out. And it's like one of the first times you see Frank cry, like actually break down. He is not feeling like president. He is not feeling like king. He is down and out. And what does she do? Does she coddle him? No. Does she, you know, does she see him less as a king now because he's having a moment of weakness and he's crying? Which is not a weak thing to cry, by the way. But just in that moment, he was so defeated. No. What does she do? She gets on top of him and rides him, right? Why? Because she stimulates him as a man. And as soon as they're done, he's back to work. Again, it's a show, so I've made my disclaimer. You know, it's obviously taken to levels to stimulate us. But if you actually understand male-feminine dynamic and you look at their relationship, they're an incredible couple. Most couples dream of being that, but they never will become that because, one, the man doesn't essentially build enough sexual energy and charge with him, which you have to do. And that's why semen retention, no-fap is so important. And the woman never learns how to actually make him feel powerful and become powerful herself. If the two of you learn to do this, you will become unstoppable. And just like Frank became president, you will become president of whatever your domain is. Anyways, a little bit of a fun video, kind of different. I've been rewatching the show, really liking it, and I'm watching it through the lens of everything that I know and understand about male and feminine energy and sexual energy. And it's quite interesting to see how they do it and play it out perfectly in their relationship. All right, thanks so much. Go register for the webinar, and I'll see you on the next video.